30,000 screaming fans packed into MetLife Stadium, expecting an absolute masterclass. I mean, they came out to see the most famous footballing nation on the planet put on a show. But instead, what we actually witnessed was a complete shock to the system. Brazil, the mighty five-time World Cup champions, the undisputed heavyweights of international football, just battled to a gritty, agonizing 1-1 draw against Morocco. Let that sink in for a second. We are completely tearing down the tape in today's explainer to figure out exactly how the unthinkable happened on that pitch. And it brings us to the exact question every single fan and pundit was screaming at their televisions tonight. Is this really Brazil? Seriously, the frustration in that stadium was just palpable. The disappointment was heavy. And look, this is not to take a single thing away from Morocco, right? They are an incredible, fiercely competitive team with undeniable talent. But we are talking about the tournament favorites here. We're talking about a squad that carries the weight of an entire nation's expectations every single time they step onto the grass. Because you have to think about what this team is measured against. The standard is literally Pelé, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, the absolute legacy of the yellow kit. This is the nation that gave us Jogo Bonito, the beautiful game. It's a philosophy built entirely on rhythm, flair, and just unstoppable offensive joy. But what actually unfolded tonight under those bright lights in New Jersey? It was anything but beautiful. It was flat, it was labored, it was an agonizing reality check for a squad that frankly looked completely disconnected from its own legendary DNA. Section 1. The unthinkable MetLife draw. Let's break down the play-by-play of exactly how this disaster played out. So mapping out the sheer chaos of this match, the shockwave hit early. In the 21st minute, Ismail Saibari, a guy many casual fans probably didn't even have on their radar before tonight, finds space outside the box and unleashes an absolute rocket right into the top corner. Brazil's goalkeeper, Alisson, who we all know is rated as one of the best shot stoppers in the world, had absolutely no chance. I mean, he could only watch it fly by. It was a stunning opener that completely flipped the script. We saw a brief flash of hope with an equalizer at the 32nd minute, but honestly, from those halftime panic subs all the way to the desperate survival mode at the 99th minute, this was a timeline of Brazilian survival, not dominance. Let's look at how this builds into a highly frustrating narrative for Brazil. 12. That is the sheer volume of shots Brazil took in just the first 30 minutes of the game alone. They came out absolutely firing. They were dominating the ball, pressing forward, and creating really good looks. But here is the painful reality of that early dominance. Zero. Zero goals to show for it. 12 shots and absolutely zero end product. In tournament football, when you have your foot on the gas and you generate that many opportunities, you absolutely have to punish the opposition. Brazil let Morocco off the hook again and again in that opening half hour, and wow, did they pay the ultimate price for it. Section 2. Moments of magic and misery. Let's shift gears and look at the isolated moments that defined the emotional roller coaster of this 90-plus minute battle. The crucial point in the first half came right at the 32nd minute, courtesy of Vinicius Jr. This was the one fleeting moment of genuine Brazilian magic in an absolute sea of mediocrity. It was a clinical, world-class finish that reminded every single person in that stadium what this team can be when they actually click and play to their potential. But the profound tragedy of this match, it was just that one single moment, one flash of brilliance in over 90 minutes of football. The entire second half was just completely flat, no urgency, zero creativity. The Jogo Bonito just completely vanished. Section 3. 3 reasons Brazil failed. Okay, let's dive into this tactical post-mortem and figure out exactly why that second half collapse happened. We can really distill this breakdown into 3 core undeniable problems that stripped Brazil of their rhythm tonight. Number 1, the absence of Neymar. Number 2, Carlo Ancelotti's starting lineup. And number 3, Morocco's absolutely relentless press. Let's take these one by one. Problem number 1, no Neymar equals no creativity. The reality is Brazil's most creative, dynamic player is still injured. He's just not fit enough to be out there. And without Neymar dropping deep to receive the ball, turning and driving at defenders, Brazil's midfield looked utterly lost. They had absolutely no one who could unlock that Moroccan defense with a single moment of genius. The difference in their attacking fluidity when he isn't on the pitch is absolutely enormous, and Morocco knew exactly how to exploit that void. Which brings us to problem number 2. The fact that Lucas Paqueta and Casemiro were both substituted at halftime tells you absolutely everything you need to know. Carlo Ancelotti has won the Champions League 5 times. The man knows big tournament football better than almost anyone alive today. Yet, his starting 11 raised some massive, glaring questions.
When a manager of his caliber is forced to make two drastic tactical panic subs right at the 46th minute, pulling off major stars like Paqueta and Casemiro, that is a screaming admission that the initial game plan was a total failure. He was clearly not happy. And here is exactly why that midfield failed. Problem number 3. Morocco was simply better prepared. Contrast Brazil's completely flat, uninspired midfield with the insane work rate of Morocco. Specifically, Ismail Saibari. This guy applied 100 pressures in this single match alone. 100. Brazil could not establish their usual rhythm, they couldn't string together their intricate passing networks, all because Morocco simply did not let them breathe. It was an absolute masterclass in suffocating your opponent. Section 4, the stat sheet disaster. Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is that when you strip away all the emotion, the numbers expose a painful, undeniable reality. 48%. That was Brazil's total possession for the match. For a team that historically dictates the tempo and just hoards the ball, falling under 50% is a massive red flag. They simply could not control the center of the park. Now compare that to Morocco's 44%. This brilliantly illustrates just how incredibly tight and fiercely contested this midfield battle actually was. Morocco wasn't just sitting back and absorbing pressure, hoping for the best. No way. They were taking the game to Brazil, fighting for every single inch of grass, and almost splitting the possession right down the middle. But here is where the stats get genuinely shocking. 14. That is the total number of shots Morocco relentlessly fired off at the Brazilian goal. They were not intimidated by those yellow shirts for a second. They were aggressive, they were dangerous, and they were constantly knocking on the door. Now compare Morocco's 14 shots to Brazil's final shot count, 12. Think about that for a second. We just talked about how Brazil had 12 shots in the first 30 minutes alone. That means they registered basically nothing for the entire rest of the match. Brazil, the heavy tournament favorites, were literally outshot by Morocco. It's an unthinkable reality for a team with that much attacking firepower. The stat sheet does not lie, and tonight it paints a disastrous picture for the South Americans. Section 5, will the real Brazil show up? We need to talk about the dire consequences of this highly vulnerable performance as we look ahead to the rest of the group stage. Because, let's be completely honest with ourselves here, the only reason, the singular reason Brazil escaped MetLife Stadium with a point is because of the man between the posts, Alisson Becker. In the 99th minute, when Morocco came desperately, terrifyingly close to winning the whole thing, Alisson pulled off two absolute world-class, unbelievable saves. He was the savior. But relying on your goalkeeper to completely bail you out in the dying seconds of stoppage time, that is not a sustainable strategy for a team trying to win a World Cup. So this performance leaves a massive question hanging over their tournament. Will the real Brazil please stand up? Look, they still have 2 group stage matches left. They absolutely still have the talent to qualify. But tonight sent a glaring message to every other squad out there. Brazil is vulnerable. They can be pushed around. And a Brazil without Neymar is a fundamentally different, highly beatable team. If they play like this in the knockout rounds, without finding that jogo bonito, this World Cup dream ends real fast. And that is exactly why you need to stay locked into these explainers, because the drama of this tournament is honestly just getting started. Make sure you subscribe right now, because every single match gets a full, structured breakdown right here. Tomorrow, we shift our focus to a massive clash, USA versus Paraguay. Can America defend their home soil? And more importantly for the tournament at large, will the real Brazil ever show up? I'll see you tomorrow.